How's it going, everybody? My name's John Bianchi. I'm the Airbnb data guy, and I have decided to do a very real, very raw analysis video where I'm actually going to be taking the top markets that AirDNA has recommended for 2023, running them up against my process with using my new software, and being able to find a profitable property within those markets based off of the 20% rule. As you can see, I have not cheated. I have not loaded up anything. I am literally going to be making this as raw as possible. It's probably going to be a bit of a long video, as these usually are, but I wanted you guys to just see the realness of actually trying to go through the process to find a profitable market, profitable property. I find it to be extremely valuable. And so we're just going to get into it. So here we go. We got the very first location here, which is Fairbanks, Alaska. And just as I'm doing this, I'm going to explain some things that I'm doing. So right now, this is my new tool, which is not released yet. If you're watching this prior to, I don't know, within like a month or two from the current date that you can see down here. It's also almost 11 p.m. right now, and I just have the energy to do this. So let's do it. But what we're doing is we're generating a report or a profit map for Fairbanks, Alaska. During that time frame, I just did that. And a profit map I'll explain in just a moment, but this is it here. So let me make myself a little bit smaller. All right, so on the left-hand side, we have the 3 different zip codes in Fairbanks, Alaska. And then in this line here, we have the different unit sizes. So a studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, so on and so forth, right? Where those two connect is the average annual revenue for an Airbnb in that area. So a studio within this zip code makes about $32,000 a year. The number behind it represents how many Airbnbs that makes up, right? So there's 4 studios in this zip code making about $32,000 a year. Now, what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be using the 20% rule to try and find a property on Zillow that we would be able to purchase. So potentially trying to find a property in Alaska that meets the 20% rule that we believe that we would be able to purchase. Now, the 20% rule, it is a price to rent ratio. If a home costs $1 million to purchase, the revenue should be $200,000 a year. That is, the revenue is 20% of the purchase price. If you can find something that does that, it typically is going to cash flow for you in a way that you're going to be happy with. If it does a little bit better, you'll be really happy. If it doesn't do as well, you'll still most likely break even or walk away with some sort of profit, right? So the 20% rule is this great little rule for today's environment, which is July of 2023. Okay. So we've pulled a profit map, and typically I just know that 3 bedrooms plus tend to do the best. I already have some filters lined up here. So I'm actually just going to change those up a little bit so we can see if there's any properties. We're going to go no HOA fees, and let's see. Okay, we're okay if there's no pool in Fairbanks, Alaska. And as we can see, we got 77 properties that popped up. Now, what you need to do very quickly is using this profit map, you just simply look for where's the most data and where's the biggest number. Really, it's honest to God that simple. So what I can see, if I look at the 4 bedrooms, there's only a handful of 4 bedrooms here, right? And there's 1 5-bedroom data, but I have a good amount of 3-bedroom data. Now, I'm actually more intrigued with doing this a different way, where I'm going to go to the simple data just because there's not a ton of data in this area. And so now you can see I've got all the data here. I'm not trying to make this overly complicated. What you can see is that we have a list of how much these properties are making from the highest to the lowest, right? And what I'm looking for is some sort of trend or some sort of consistency. So obviously there's a lot of properties that are doing well below, the $40,000 mark. There's a lot of properties not making any money here. What I'm going to actually do is just focus in on the slightly larger properties. So I like to focus on 3 bedrooms or larger. They tend to have much better cash flow. And as you can see, that's everything that is a 3, 4, and 5. And we have a couple of outliers up here that are doing really well. I'm most likely just going to ignore these, but I'm going to open them up just to take a quick look to kind of get a feel for what they look like. But the reality is that I'm most likely going to fall within this range, which is somewhere between $70,000 and $90,000. So if the property makes $70,000 a year, 1, 2, 3, and we times that by 0.2, which is the 20%, it'll then tell us the wrong information. So let's I'm doing this wrong. 70%. So I can do it in my head better than I can do it on the calculator. Apologize. Like I said, very raw. So $80,000 a year is 400,000, which means that 70,000 is going to be $350,000 a year. So the property would be $350,000 up to $450,000 is this range that I'm seeing right here. And I also want to take a look at these properties, but first we're going to take a look at these outliers that are doing really well. Maybe they're a really well put together listing, which is kind of what we're seeing here. So there's a 5-bedroom, Looks really nice. I want to see what the outside of the home looks like because that's what it's going to show me on Zillow. That's a very large property with a beautiful view, and it's making $144,000 a year. Another very large property, but not a great listing. This is a really bad listing, is what it is though. It's a beautiful property. Again, a bad listing, but the home itself is fairly large as well. Let's see how many bedrooms we're working with here. So that's another 5-bedroom. This one's a 4, that one's a 5, and then another log cabin, but this is evolved data and we don't care about evolved data. So that's what I'm seeing right off the bat. So let's say hypothetically that we did buy a property that could make 130, let's say. So 120 is going to put us at 600,000, and then 130 is going to put us at 650,000. So let's go right up to 700,000 as the maximum amount that we're going to be able to spend on a 4+ home that is in this area. So let's also sort it by size because square footage, because as we clearly saw within those last ones, they were very large. I'm actually super intrigued right now because I was not expecting it to be the property values to be this low. So this is a 4,000 square foot home for $590,000. It doesn't look like it has any views, but it is a massive home. And these other homes were massive as well. Now let's see if we can find out some other things about these homes. So this one is a log cabin. This one is not a log cabin. Let's double check this data here to ensure that it is good. Yep, they've got reviews. Not a ton of reviews. They likely have more reviews on VRBO. This data is not showing us VRBO data. And then this log cabin I don't care about, but I want to see, that's going to be that one there. I want to see this one doing 114 because I'm curious to see if it's a very large home as well. You know what? All these homes are really interesting. Let's open them up and take a closer look at these properties to see why. I don't know. I'm intrigued because these home values are really, really cheap. I said this is going to be a really raw video, real video, right? And that's essentially what's happening right now. Like, look at this property, 4,000 square feet. To me, this could match up with what is it? This one? Yeah, this one right here. Like this one has a home here. We've got a hot tub going on. It's a terrible listing photos wise, but look at these photos. Like that photo is pretty cool. It's got a piece of land. It doesn't have any view. It's got a good deck. The inside is really plain, really boring. Like I said, most likely the remaining reviews that we're not seeing here are on VRBO, and I could double check that if I want to, but I'm trying to move quick for this video. But we're seeing tons of reviews every single month throughout the entire year, and that home is the second highest. What is this? Fairbanks. So that's doing 130. This property is $700,000 a year. If I were to pull up, let's see. So I like to use this tool right here. So if that property cost me, now mind you, this tool is the template is from Kenny Bedwell. Appreciate it. I haven't made my own. He made this one, and I like to use it. So let's say it's not the 20% rule. It's 700,000. Let's say that you got to put about $50,000 into that property. We are getting an 8% interest rate, and we're putting 20% down. The property is going to make 130 because I'm using the number that is right here, the 130 right there. And what this is telling me is that this would be a 14% cash on cash, which seems a little bit too high. So these expenses are likely just a little bit too low. Let's just amp them up a little bit and kind of see if that makes a difference. Then again, I really have to dive deep into this to like ensure that I was getting it right. All the different expenses, but if I could spend only $50,000 on this property, which it's a 4,000 square foot home, might be spending a little bit more on the furniture than 50,000. So I'm going to increase this to, let's just say if I were to put $100,000 into that, you're still walking away with a 9% if you made 130 on this $700,000 property. And let's say hypothetically you can make a better listing than this person did, which obviously you can. That's going to give you, let's say you get up to 150,000. You're looking at a 16% cash on cash. That's if you put $100,000 in the property. Obviously, might not need that, but I'm just trying to be cautious with this, right? And once again, I don't think I have my expenses lined up perfectly. So because every property is going to be a little bit different, like the electrical is probably going to be quite a bit higher. The natural gas is probably going to be quite a bit higher. All these things are going to hurt your cash on cash, even as you're making more money, right? So this is obviously why we like that 20% rule, whereas this is not the 20% rule. It's a little bit below it, but anyways, so that property at first glance is interesting. This one might be a little bit more interesting because it's actually quite a bit cheaper. So I'm just going to toss that in there real quick and see how much of a difference that's going to make to our revenue here. And it drops it up to 10%. That's still, putting 100%, $100,000 in, The difference there, if we just keep an eye on the cash on cash, was a full 5%. So it's twice as good of a deal technically, just by getting the other property instead. So first off, like super intriguing. Here's a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, really good size. Kind of has like a slightly unique look to it. I'm trying to see if it has any views. It has land, but doesn't have any views. I wish one of these properties would have views. I feel like that would make a world of a difference for this. So that is views, but not really. I wish one of these would be a log cabin. I think if I just say it out loud, maybe it'll just show up. This is 110 for a 5-bedroom. I don't think that one's going to cut it. Here's a log cabin. It's not that large though. So, and it likely doesn't have any views. It's only 1,800 square feet. So this is probably going to fall within the range of some of these other properties that we can see here. So these are the other ones. That one's along the river. Another log cabin along the, oh, that's the same one as the other one. This one is smaller. There's not much going on with this home at all. Let's confirm if this is good data, because I'm curious if this is making July, May, March, February. Once again, most of these are going to be on VRBO. I just know this is a VRBO heavy market. I'm going to, on AirDNA, I can see how many listings are on VRBO in comparison to Airbnb, which is a useful tool to be able to see. So let's go Fairbanks, Alaska. Usually the more remote the location, the more VRBO there is. And let's see. So only 12%. All right, I was wrong. That's okay, but there's still 12%, which is interesting. So now it's hard to say exactly how many of these are on VRBO and how many of them are not, right? So you got some August, September, October, right to December, January, February, which is what you want to see, March, and then May, July. So I wonder what the seasonality is for this area as well, because maybe there's less reviews during that time frame. So April is completely dead. October, November, and December and January are as well, but there were reviews for those ones. But April is just dead, which is interesting. So were there, March, there was no reviews for April. So that kind of adds up. I'm not overly concerned by it, but I'm also not going to rely everything that I'm trying to do on this fact. So here's another home that's shaped very similar to that last one, and they have way more reviews. See, this is why you just keep working through the data until you find some good data that you can actually feel confident with and be able to make a decision based off of that. So this one, the reason I'm interested in this one is because it's small, right? It's a smaller home. I can see it's got a runway or something along those lines. It's a semi-decent home. It looks like it might just be a barn to the back end of somebody's actual home, which is even more interesting. But it's a fairly small home on a decent piece of land, and it's a 3-bedroom. I just need to figure out exactly how much it's making. So bush plane hangar home. Yeah, that's a pretty cool, unique place. But let's see. So it's making $82,000 a year. So if I can find something that would be, 450 as like a max amount that I could pay, and it'd be a 3-bedroom specifically, that had a little bit of land to it. Look at all of these ones that are actually available. So, right off the bat, there's enough homes here that are meeting that 20% price to rent ratio that it would be worth deep diving this market. So this is a market that I would consider worthy of actually trying to fully understand and see if there were properties here that could actually work. And so because I'm trying to check multiple different locations, we're going to move on to the next one. So first off, Fairbanks, looks like there's opportunity there. Just throwing that out there. Evansville, Indiana. Let's copy that, bring it over here, get a new profit map, pop that in. Evansville, Indiana. And then we'll let that load. And while that's loading, we'll load up Evansville into Zillow and go from there. Evansville, Indiana, perfect. And then we've got the profit map ready to go. There's quite a few more zip codes here, but it also seems like there's only 49 listings as well. So I'm 49 listings that passed my test, by the way. If I were to actually go to Evansville in AirDNA, they're going to tell you exactly how many active rentals that there are. There's 165, and we removed 120 plus of those, right? And we're left with only the remaining. And so very quickly, I can see that the place that's making the most amount of money is 60,000. It drops to 55, 50, 48. So for this to, I don't know how this is a location that has any potential. This is very interesting. So I'm seeing almost no money being made here. Let's just say hypothetically you can make $40,000 a year. That would be doing this math is killing me live. So if we were to be making, I should be like, why? You usually have to play around with the formula a couple times till I get it right. Let's say if we times it by zero point 0.8, does that make a difference? No, no, it does not. Right, because I'm just taking 0.8. I got to divide it. I'm so stupid. And we got to divide it by 0.2. Yep, you're getting the real stuff when if you're watching this. And I did times again because I'm a genius. Um, all right, so 200,000. That's the max you can spend if you have a place that makes 400,000. You can only spend 200,000. So let's just type in 200, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to be looking at, what are we looking at again? These are mainly 3 bedrooms and 4 bedrooms that we're seeing that are in that price range. Yes, there's 1 2-bedroom, but I'm choosing to ignore it. So, and we're looking at specifically 3 bedrooms. Now, I will actually want to see where are these specifically located, because that's probably going to change what location I'm actually going to look into. So I'm going to use this tool called My Maps, create a map for this specific area. I've got to create a little sheet here for this. And this is going to be the tool that I'm going to grab. I'm going to copy this, bring it over here, and we're going to go and import using Google Drive. This is what this is doing, is that it's taking the lat and the long from the profit map, and then it's going to be plotting it onto an actual map here, so I can see exactly where all of these locations are. So we've got them all over the place with, wow, way up there too. So a little bit of a concentration downtown and over here, which is interesting because I actually did see a bit of a concentration for some properties down here. So extremely cheap properties. I'm genuinely surprised by this, like very, very genuinely surprised by it. I was expecting the properties to be quite a bit more based off of all the different, markets that I've been looking into recently. But this is interesting. That's all I have to say. It's very interesting. So listing is not that great. Let's confirm that this data is useful. They've got June, July, February, not a ton, not a lot. So December rate, yeah, that's not great. So I don't want to trust that data. This one looks real. This looks good. So June, May, February, and it's not good. That is a good listing. Doesn't look good. I feel like this would be on VRBO if I wanted to be able to find it on VRBO. There are 4% on VRBO, so very unlikely. This is a good looking listing. 109, July, June, May, April, March, January, November, October. Okay, so pretty well good all the way through. And let's take a look at this listing. So it looks like it's an apartment of some kind. It's got a newer kitchen, new everything really. So can we find a property that matches up with this? It is a 3-bedroom, and let's see exactly where this one might be located, right downtown Evansville. So we found a couple of properties down there. This property would be making $51,000 a year as a 3-bedroom. And so, where am I trying to go here? I am trying to go to Zillow. Let me put that all the way at the end. And this is the first thing that we see here for 110. It definitely is not the same and would not meet the same requirements of what we're looking for. And then this one here is 90. And again, this is not going to be what we're looking for. They're not even showing the inside of this home. I wonder if any of these other ones over here might, and this is not necessarily downtown anymore, but once again, this is another single family home. This one's a little bit better, but definitely not nearly as nice of a kitchen in comparison. These ones are, I'm not even going to open up the ones that are 55,000. And once again, this is the same general idea. So I'd be curious if any of these homes actually look like that. So there we go. We have one that's an actual home, July, June, May. Okay, this is good data that we're looking at here. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. This home itself is what I'm curious about. The size of it, the look of it, the location of it, just so I can see if there are any comparable properties within that area. The kitchen is fairly plain, as we were just seeing. The listing is not good. And let's keep going. Let's see where it's located. So this one would be located a little bit further out. Okay. And it's a 4-bedroom. So let's go back over to Zillow. Let's make it 4-bedroom only. And then let's kind of pull out a little bit from here and see what do we got. So this is, yeah, that's comparable. It's a super cool listing. It's $159,000. That's basically free. If you look at all the other properties around the country, I live in Canada. This would be a $700,000 home, regardless of the location. Okay, so there's property. And that one that I just looked at, the farmhouse in Oak Hill, is making $46,000 a year. So The property is 159,000. The revenue potential, let's call it 45,000. The price to rent ratio on this one is this divided by that. Works out to being 28%. And if let's just throw that into the underwriting sheet and see what happens. So 159, 123. Obviously, we're not spending $100,000 on this one. Let's actually just put in 20 because it'd probably be a little bit closer to that. And then let's assume that we're going to be making, what did I say, 45,000. Now I have to lower all these expenses and that I had added in here originally because obviously these are not going to be nearly as high, and that's going to really throw off my number there. Just trying to figure out which ones that I actually changed. So let's say we just changed those ones. It's still a negative 16%. This is actually something that happens where the revenue is actually just so low it can't cover all of the expenses that you would typically have. But let's keep changing some things here to see if we can actually make this work. So let's assume that we can maybe get the cleaning done for, say, 150. It's still going to be a 4-bedroom, and there's going to be 6 turnovers. So we're looking at like 900 there. And then what else is that? I don't know. Maybe the property taxes are this, or the CapEx would be different. No, CapEx would be right. Maybe these would be a little bit different if we can see what the property taxes would be on this. Maybe that's going to give you the home value, not the property taxes. Property taxes, oh, stupid cheap. Holy. All right, so let's go, what is that, like $70, something like that. Let's assume that this will be cheaper just based off of everything else that we're seeing. We're now up to about a 5%. There's technology, VA, you can't really get rid of some of this stuff. The supplies, you can't really get rid of. Pest control, electricity, water, internet. Everything else is, even this is low, but for the property itself, I actually don't feel comfortable with it being 100. So we're going to change that. Still, I mean, it's a 3%, even with being a 28% price to rent ratio. And the reason this is happening is just simply because with a really low amount of revenue being made off of one property, this is how it goes, right? So, as soon as you can get above that, to say the property made 55,000, it looks like an absolutely beautiful deal, right? But you would have to make 55,000 with this property. Is that possible? Probably not, because there's a beautiful downtown listing that's not even making 50,000, 55,000, right? So like to be able to make that amount with a smaller home that's further away from downtown, probably not a deal that makes sense. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, John, but you just said the 20% rule always works. And it goes, and that tends to be the case. However, like I said, with a smaller annual revenue amount, you have to have a higher price to rent ratio. Okay. With a higher purchase price, you can technically have a slightly lower price to rent ratio. So like $1 million, you really might only need like an 18%. Just to prove that real quick while we're doing this. So let's say you bought $1 million property and it made $180,000 a year. I have to change everything to be able to do that. Sorry, I'm realizing that this might not be the most effective use of what we're trying to do here. So I'm going to skip over that and we're going to come back over here. I think that even though the home values are extremely low, this is just far too low to be able to find a property that's going to work. Therefore, I am vetoing Evansville, Indiana, as a market that likely will not cash flow unless you get an amazing deal. So we're just going to continue on. So that's number 2. Then we're going to go to Rockford, Illinois. Let's copy that and go over here, go get new profit map, pop that in, and go get new profit map. And then we're also, once again, going to find this over here. And go do. And all right, we got that loaded. And we don't need anything from there right now. This is ready to go. Let's open it up, take a look at it. Another market with barely any data, so about 45 different locations. We're going to grab, once again, that simple data and take a quick look at it. So we can see bedroom count wise, we're still looking at the three fours and a couple of 5s at the top. These are most likely not real data. It just doesn't really happen that way, or they are. That's a crazy listing. This is crazy. Look at that. It's an indoor pool, everything to it. Holy hell. Good for this person being able to actually make that amount of money. That's real data. They've got an indoor pool, a full out arcade, movie theater. Wow, that is impressive. That's a whole category of its own, and I'm not even going to get into it. And then we got this one here, June straight to April. Don't love that, but not the worst thing in the world. That's a decent. This is a listing that I'd be very cautious of. I wouldn't say without a doubt that it's making the amount that it's making, especially with the fact that it's making. It's actually not making a significant amount more than everybody else. So it's again, I'm checking VRBO AirDNA just to simply see if they have how many VRBO listings, and I see 8, which is not great. To be able to prove that that listing might potentially be also on VRBO. I could obviously go check VRBO, but oof, I did not notice that. Dropped straight from, you had a handful here, and then just drops off. What is it about these listings that is causing them to make nearly nothing in comparison to everybody else? That's wild. All right, so first off, not a great listing, not a good listing. This one's half decent. This one's got stuff going on. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And where I know I don't need to do an analysis to see if these ones would work. So you know what? Like, if I'm being honest, I'm just going to skip over this, because if I see this and there's only a handful of potentially good data or homes that are actually making any money out of all of this, it's not worth looking into. We've already just did an underwriting where we know that if a property makes that amount, it's not going to cash flow. So I'm skipping over that one. So that one is done. Rockford is done. I'm not wasting my time there. Let's keep going. What do we got next is Springfield, Illinois. Another Illinois. These are all kind of close to each other, right? Come on. New software. An issue with the new software happens. All right. Do I know to spell Illinois? Apparently not. ILLI. Illinois. There it is. Whoa. Getting that one fixed. It's on the card already to get fixed. The developer's working on it. So we got 35 different zip codes. Okay. Once again, let's head over to Zillow and get this ready to go. Springfield. Opening it up. Said 35 zip codes, but we definitely don't have 35 zip codes. I don't know why I was saying that. 34 listings in total. You know the drill. Head over to Simple Data, take a look, and most of it's not making over that amount. Therefore, it's vetoed, and we're not going to move forward with this location. So Springfield is out. Anyone who didn't understand that has not been following along. So let's keep moving. We're going to get to this 5th one here. Burdett, New York. Put it in, pop it out. New York, get the profit map, head over to Zillow, do what we got to do, and go from there. New York, we got one that's under 200K. Let's open this up. I'm assuming there's going to be higher, more profitable properties. There's only 37 in this location. It seems like AirDNA used some sort of metric where it's not a lot of properties in the market, but they're probably very low price real estate in comparison. There's actually, oh my God, there's only one 4-bedroom. Let's see how many we have here in total. Okay, there's only, where are the properties? Might not even need to look at the data. Okay, so we have 2 properties that are available. One that is this, whatever this is. We got a property in a massive barn, and it's $1 million. So first off, $1 million. Do we have any properties doing 200,000? We do. We have one. And this one looks like this. Is it real data? Let's verify. July, May, April, October. I would need to find that on VRBO if I'm going to believe it, because that data that I just saw there tells me that there's not enough reviews every single month. Therefore, it's most likely not real data. You don't get 4 reviews in a full year and make $200,000. So, and then there's no other pieces of data to be able to prove that those homes are making that amount. And then we have this really nice estate that has good data, and they're only making 127. So then, therefore, this is not a property that I would purchase. There's not enough data. I don't want to continue to look into it. And we have only one other piece of data that is available, and it's a trailer. And then if I were to review this data, once again, we're hitting this sort of range. So I could go through this and try to find a property that would be, to see if there's a comparable property to this trailer that's done really well, and see if maybe I can make it work here. But I am not going to do that. And then I'm going to go to sold, though. I want to see how many properties have sold in the past, let's say 6 months, because there's been 4. Okay, so the reason I'm vetoing this market, and 2 of them have been land. And this one's 2.5, and that one's another trailer. Okay, vetoing this market. I don't think it's a market that I would want to enter into personally, just because the properties are either overpriced or trailers, and then there's not the revenue is not insanely high. I mean, it's not terrible by any means. There's a decent amount that's going on right here, but really the issue is that there's low inventory. There's like no inventory in this market. So if I'm trying to enter into it in a 6-month period, there's been a 2 trailers for sale, $1 million property, and a $2.5 million property. Vetoed. We're moving on. We're moving on. As you can see, this is getting a little bit quicker as we go through this, and we're currently at a half an hour, and I've gone through the top 5 markets already. So let's see if we can knock out a few more as we continue with this, and maybe we did find one location that actually would work out. So it's not a total loss by any means, but let's get that going, and you know the drill. Head over here, pop this in, and see. So now, mind you, anyone who's watching this and they're getting like offended by the fact that, you know, I'm saying the locations they're looking into are not great, just know that I don't care. Just kidding. Just know that this is the process that I go through whenever I'm ever trying to figure this out. And I'm speaking specifically for me. I'm saying what I care about and what I'd be looking for. And as you can see here, there's no properties that are for sale, and all these ones are outside of the border that I was just looking into. But I am curious how far, because these properties actually look kind of interesting. So they're all over the place. So if I really wanted to, I could then start making profit maps for the areas where there's actually properties for sale, but I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to also put back in the location I was just looking at. Let's confirm that that was New York I was supposed to look at, because I might be getting this wrong. It's Kentucky. I apologize. Let's try that again. All right, let's go. Somebody was probably watching that and being like, what an idiot. All right, so we have 3 properties for sale, but one's in town, one's not in town, and I don't know where the third one is. It seems to be on the outskirts. Okay, so it's a new build for, you know, next to nothing. Not a lot going on here. So let's open up this map and take a look. We're working with 46 listings. We have a bunch of larger listings here as well, which is interesting, than the vast majority of them being 3 bedrooms. I'm curious, what are the that's a 3 bedroom. There you go. Oh man, I love data. All right, so let's just take a look at the 3 bedrooms, not worry about everything else. And as we can see, most of them are going to be below that $50,000 mark. And then on top of that, these homes are going for like $230,000 and $389,000. I don't need to go through the underwriting again to be able to figure that out. Let's keep moving on. Okay, so the next one we have is New Haven, Connecticut. And so let's copy this. Let's head over here. Let's go new profit map, pop this in, New Haven, Connecticut, getting it right this time, learning from my mistakes. It's how life goes. And Connecticut, KY, sure. We've got 2 properties for sale. Man, this list is getting really boring. It's New Haven, Connecticut. Yeah, that's right. Connecticut, KY. I'm Canadian, right? So Connecticut, no. Hold on. What does KY stand for? KY state's name stands for, that's got to be like Kentucky. Am I right? What does KY stand for in the States? Kentucky. I'm an idiot. I apologize. Let's head, once again, not learning from my mistakes. Connecticut, CT. That makes way more sense. Man, I feel stupid. All right, this is the reason we do this live and see how it comes out. So we got 15 locations in New Haven, Connecticut. Why is this not adding up? Because there are so many properties for sale here that for only 15 to show up, that doesn't make a ton of sense. Let me see exactly what's going on here. We got 592 that are available. Vast majority of them being 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms. And I'm barely seeing anything here. So what am I missing for the fact that this only has this amount of data? So let's go to the simple data, and that's already going to be there. We're going to map this to see if there's something that isn't making sense. The only thing I could think of is like maybe just the vast majority of the data that's there is not useful data, right? That's definitely a possibility. I've seen that happen many times. Oops. How do I undo that? Oh well, new name. Let's copy this and bring it over, and then go there, type that in. It's going to pop open with the New Haven sheet. We're going to click it. I don't need to select anything here because it's already grabbing the lat and the long. And then if I continue, I'll just make the annual revenue the title, which is how I like to do it. And as we can see, there's a handful in the middle, and then there's some over there, and there's some over there. So I guess there's just a lot of bad data in New Haven, because it's showing me data for all of this entire location. It says there's almost 600 listings, and we're only looking at a handful here. Wow, that is crazy. And most of them, once again, are not making any money. So yeah, that's too bad. Another market vetoed from the list. Let's keep on keeping on, people. This is how quick and easy it can be. You know what? Without going through the rest of these, let's take a moment to just find a profitable location. Let's take a second. Let me just show you what this looks like when you actually do find a market that would work out, because I'm getting the feeling that all of these locations are going to be the exact same idea over and over and over again, and I'm not interested in doing that. So I don't want to bore you either, but this has been the process. This has been the real process of what you would go through using this tool to be able to find a profitable location. And I'm going to actually just end this off because we're already at 35 minutes with pulling up Atlanta and showing you how you could use it with Atlanta. I just made the Atlanta report. Where is it? Using the Atlanta report to be able to find a profitable property. I make a lot of reports, as you can see. So, and when you have the ability to do unlimited, it is the best. And let's see. So there's 92 zip codes here. It's going to pull all of that data. And I'm just going to show you. So actually, interesting enough, I just made a video where I did this for rental arbitrage, and now I'm going to do it for purchasing. And I'm very curious how this is actually going to work out. So I already know where, you know what? I just want to show you the actual data that I just did at Atlanta rather than walking you through this entire process again. So here is the data. So I did this recently for another location for Atlanta, and I specifically focused in on the 5 bedrooms and 6 bedrooms. I pulled all the simple data, and then I narrowed it down to what was the good data. This is a more in-depth analysis, just simply because I saw that Atlanta had potential, so I did a deeper dive. I have a whole course on YouTube about that called it's the 2.0 course. Just look for 2.0. But anyway, so I pulled all this data, and you can see that this was the good data that I really liked, thought they were all really strong listings. And so let me open these up so you can get an understanding of what they look like. Let's open those links. And then the border of where I was looking, because it was within this certain range, I'm going to use that exact same border again. Where's this airport? It's right there. So I might have gone too high. I did. So let's cancel. Zoom in one. We want to be a little bit more. This little airport right here is what I'm looking for. I don't know if it's little. It's probably the main airport. But let's pull it up, pull it around, go up there, and come back over here. So this is the area where all of those locations are that are performing well, and I can show you what I mean by that. Let's head over to Atlanta. Take a look at Atlanta. You can see these are all those top properties, 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms, that are performing really well. They're all within that certain range. And if you look at the map I just made, they're also in that same range. I need to look at 5 plus with, I believe, 3 bedroom plus. Let me just triple check that. So if we got the Atlanta data, number of bathrooms needs to be 3 plus at a minimum, ideally 4 or 5. So I got it at 3, and we're going to press apply, see what pops up there. Now I know that these properties are ranging from like mainly 120 to 130. That's our biggest gap there, or biggest portion. I also know that these homes can do well also, but let's just focus in on these ones here. And so this would be around 600 to 6. Let's put it at 700 as a sort of like a buffer, because just in case we can lowball somebody to be able to get their property. And now we're looking only down here, and I want to see, so the properties that are down here, what are those ones? So that's 102, that's 109, and that's 121. So this is going to be our best piece of data and information that we could use. Can we find a home that looks like this one? That's obviously the back, and that's the front there. So can it look like this? And if it can, we got to have like that downstairs. Let's see, what do we got? So I want to go by square footage again, and this is the first one for 695, 700,000, massive home, really nice, likely better than the one that we were just looking at, but it's also at 700,000. So, but then again, if it's as nice as some of these, look at this one here. This one there is the third best one. That's also, I mean, this one's nice as well. So this is, now we're hitting like 150 to 170. Whereas if I look at some of these, this home that I'm seeing right now for sale is huge. I mean, it's 5,000 square feet, and it's luxury, and it's new. This can compete with those other ones without a doubt. That's it. That's a given. I don't really need to get too much into the data. You're quickly seeing these homes. You get a general idea. If you want to see that deep analysis, you can go and check the other video, and I'll mention that just before we hop off. But let's go 695, 123. We're going to put, let's say, $50,000 because it doesn't look like it needs any reno. It's just furniture and amenities. It has the potential to make, let's say, 160, I believe. Let's double check that to make sure I'm not delusional. So let's go back over to these properties here. Yeah, 150 to 170. So we'll throw it at 160. And then let's see. So let's up some of this stuff just because, you know, a bigger home, more things are going to break. It's also going to cost more for the utility bills. I'm going to throw that at 600 because it's 5,000 square feet. Outdoor technology, all these things. This is probably going to be quite a bit higher. We can figure that out fairly easily. Let's see what we got. So 7,000. So let's put it back up to that number that it was before, which was like 650-ish. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then the insurance, we're just going to throw that at 250. CapEx is 1% of the purchase price. And at 160, we're looking at a 27% price to rent ratio. That is pretty sweet. Let's change this up to 1,500. Actually, let's make it 2,000 because it's a massive property. And then let's also say that, you know, these things aren't going to be that big of a difference. And we've got, yeah, I mean, this is what it would look like, right? 20% down. It's a brand new home, 50,000. Maybe closing costs are a little bit higher, but we're still at a 20% price to rent ratio. So if you stuck around for this entire video, this seems like a pretty decent home to be able to go out and purchase, right? If you analyze all this data. Now, if you did stick around this entire time and you watched all that, here's a property that, you know, could end up working out for you. I would recommend, you know, doing your own deep dive analysis for that specific market and looking into it. However, I also just came out with a video where actually it's an hour and 2 minutes long, where I broke down all of Atlanta and found a profitable property within Atlanta. Now, if you're watching this video still, the what I want to offer you is a early bird access to the Profit Map software that you just saw. This is something that I'm outrageously excited about. This is why I'm making this entire video, to show you the power of this tool and the ability to very quickly determine if a market makes sense or not. I literally created the tool to be able to help people figure out what market to start their Airbnb business in. It was the number one thing that I was helping people with, like just through conversation, but I hated that I couldn't use data and give them a tool that allowed them to use data to be able to make that decision. The other providers out there just don't give you the ability to do this in the way that you'd want it to do it. This is not officially released to the public yet. This is a very soft launch. So if you are watching this, and most people are not going to watch this all the way to the end, which is why I saved it for the end. If you're watching this and you are interested, I want you to email me saying purple elephant. And if you email me saying purple elephant, I'll know that you are reaching out about this software. And you can find my email by going to my YouTube channel. You can see there's my tag right there. There's my name right there. And you can go to where it says about, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see where it says my email. And you can email me directly saying purple elephant. And if you do that, I will give you the early bird discount for this tool. Now, anyone who's going to reach out, I just want to put a little bit of reality into what you can expect. The current price for a single profit map is $497. You can see that right there. If you want to get 10, it's $2,497. Now, I'm telling you right now, if you reach out, it's a very large discount in comparison to this, and you're going to get the unlimited access for 1 year. And it's only for the early birds, and I'm capping it at I think we're capping at 25 people, and we're already around 10. So this is very, very early access, and it's at a significantly discounted rate. And it's mainly because I just want feedback. I want feedback from people to tell me what they like, dislike, so I can improve it before we actually launch it. This has been proven to be extremely beneficial. I'm really happy about it. So with all that being said, if you're one of those people who can't figure out what market that you want to go into, and you're trying to solve that so that you can start your Airbnb business, this tool was built for you. Email me. We'll get you started. We'll get you a login, and we'll get you the course so that you know what you're going through, and we're going to go from there. Okay. Hope you enjoyed this, and we'll talk later.